At that time, Jesus came to Jericho and intended to pass through the town. Now a man there named Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and also a wealthy man, was seeking to see who Jesus was. But he could not see him because of the crowd, for he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree in order to see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. When he reached the place, Jesus looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house." And he came down quickly and received him with joy. When they all saw this, they began to grumble, saying, "He has gone to stay at the house of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor, and if I had extorted anything from anyone, I shall repay it 4 times over." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a descendant of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save what was lost." Before I knew how to read, my sainted grandmother would read Bible stories to me from colorful books that were published by our church. One of my favorite books was entitled Bible ABCs. The story started with Abraham and ended with Zacchaeus. I loved that story because I could understand how hard it was to see things because, well, I was small. And I could understand how happy someone would be if Jesus would visit their house. Zacchaeus represents the chief attribute of all the disciples, a desire to see Jesus and corresponding joy in his presence. The story embodies the promise that anyone who desires to see Jesus will. More than that, anyone who desires to see Jesus will, in turn, be seen by Jesus and in this way have their joy made complete. Our video commentary demonstrates many aspects of our gospel reading. It is about stature, animosity from the community, showing initiative, and a luminary house visit. The movie is based on a true story. The scenes you're about to see took place in East Harlem. The film opens with violinist Roberta Guspari having been deserted by her Navy husband and feeling devastated. She attempts to rebuild her life, and a friend from Student Day recommends her to the head teacher of a school in a tough area of East Harlem. Roberta teaches her students what it means to stand strong and how important it is playing the violin. Like Zacchaeus, one of her students faces a physical disability about not being able to stand tall and strong without some help.
I could push you, that's because your feet are not centered. Somebody bring me a chair, okay? Guadalupe, I think it would be a good idea for you to sit. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Deshawn. Guadalupe, what are you doing here?
I can't keep my bow straight.
Well, honey, your teacher must be looking for you.
Here. I can't come anymore. It's too hard.
The violin is hard for everybody.
But everyone is better than me. I'll always be weaker.
Did you ever hear of Itzhak Perlman?
No.
He's one of the greatest violinists in the whole world. He has problems with his legs, too. He has to use 2 canes to walk, but he still makes the most beautiful music.
And he sits down when he plays?
Yep, he has to.
He was your student?
No, but if he were, I would tell him the same thing I'm telling you. You shouldn't quit something just because it's hard.
But I can't stand strong.
Well, standing strong doesn't mean just using your legs. You can stand strong on the inside. You know what I mean?
From the onset of Luke's gospel and throughout his narrative, Jesus sides with those on the margin, those considered down and out, those not accounted as much in the eyes of the world. While Zacchaeus is rich, he is nevertheless despised by his neighbors, counted as a nothing, even as worse than nothing. The children of East Harlem were disregarded by the New York Board of Education, and Roberta reaches out to them. However, despite her good intentions, Roberta discovers that there are parents who aren't pleased with her presence, attitude, and style of teaching.
Where were you today?
I can't be involved in class anymore.
Why not?
My mother won't let me.
Why?
My son's got more important things to do than learn dead white men's music.
They're gonna learn Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
How many black classical composers can you name? How many black classical violinists do you know?
Well, that doesn't mean that's the way it should be. I mean, Naeem's just learning to play music. He makes him feel good about himself. What does it matter who wrote it?
Please, Ma, can I be in the class?
Look, I've seen this before. You white women come up here and think you can rescue our poor inner city children who never asked to be rescued in the first place. No, thank you. Come on. Don't look back at her. Turn your head around.
You're on the wrong string, Becky. I've only told you this 14 times. Look at your nails. You're supposed to cut them for violin class. I've told you that. Stop.
That sounds so bad. That sounds terrible. Gee, you're gonna make your parents sick.
Shouting at
I'm
them
not
all
shouting at
the
them
time.
All the time, just when they don't listen. They have to listen to
Didn't
me.
you tell them that they were making their parents sick?
I did say, but I didn't say exactly that
I'm
way.
raising Becky in a supportive atmosphere. I don't send her to school to be abused.
But I'm just trying to teach them discipline, that's all. If you want to take a very difficult instrument, you have to take it seriously, you have to focus, you have to pay attention.
I think what Mrs. Lamb is trying to say, Roberta, is that you are a little too harsh.
The heartfelt desire Zacchaeus had to see Jesus was so strong that he took initiative and action, even if it meant looking foolish by climbing a tree and looking like a child in order to see Jesus. Zacchaeus takes aggressive action to see Jesus without any visual obstruction. Likewise, Roberta takes assertive action to keep her vision of a string program in East Harlem alive, after learning it had been slashed from the educational budget. Perhaps you may recognize the song that she chose for the concluding string concert.
There must be some way that we can fight this.
Fight it with what? I don't have any other extra programs I can give them instead.
Oh, I see. After 10 years, after 1,400 kids have learned the violin, this is just an extra program.
You know I don't feel that way. And you know damn well I've been standing by you all these years. You think I haven't noticed what you've done for these kids?
Well, then do something! This beautiful concert that you just heard
could be the very last concert of the East Harlem Violin Program. The Board of Ed and the district superintendent think that music isn't important for our kids. But they are wrong. And they're going to get a big fight.
In today's gospel reading, Jesus calls the chief tax collector by name and publicly proclaims, "Zacchaeus, come down, for I must stay at your house today." Jesus singles him out. By seeing him and calling him and staying with him and blessing him, Jesus declares for all to hear that this one, even this chief tax collector, is a child of Abraham and a child of God. Perhaps Jesus is again at work seeking out those who are lost, wherever their own actions or those around them, in order to find, save, and restore them. Our video commentary also includes a house invitation and luminary visitors. Perhaps you may have noticed in the last clip that a woman was taking photographs at Roberta's concert when she announced her campaign to preserve the string program for the sake of the children of East Harlem. The photographer was the wife of a celebrated New York violinist, and soon a benefit concert was organized to save the string program. Just as Zacchaeus was blessed for his initiative and perseverance in wanting to see Jesus, Roberta was blessed for her dedication and persistence on behalf of the children of East Harlem. Through the goodwill of the celebrated violinist and his photographer wife, the concert was to be given at the house built by the philanthropist Andrew Carnegie in 1891. And I'm reminded of an old story. A lost New York City visitor was on 57th Street when he spotted a man with a violin case getting out of a cab. The lost man asked him, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" With a sigh, the violinist responded, "Practice, practice, practice."
Amazing sound, isn't it? It must be Roberta.
Mr. Stern.
I was working upstairs and I thought I'd come down and just welcome you.
Oh, well,
So nice to have you here in this house.
well, thank you very much for your help bringing us here.
Let me show you something. If you're very, very quiet, listen, and you can hear Tchaikovsky conducting the opening concert in 1891. And if you listen over there, you'll hear Yasha Heifetz. If you listen over there, you'll hear Sergei Rachmaninoff. And right over here is where Vladimir Horowitz played on his piano. And they're all here in the walls to welcome all who come here. This is what Carnegie's for. And we are so happy that you and the children are coming.
I'm very, very grateful you're giving us a chance.
I want to ask you a favor. Could I, with a couple of friends, come and join with you and the kids? We'd love to help.
You really? That would be fantastic.
Well, we'd love to. We'd love to be part of it.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, yeah, that would be
do
great.
such special work. It's just a way of saying thank you. And don't worry, it will work out. I promise you.
Your mouth to God's ear.
We present to you a group of international artists who are united in support of the East Harlem Violin Program. It is our great pleasure to introduce to you Michael Trio, Charles Veal Jr., Arnold Steinhardt, Karen Briggs, Itzhak Herman, Isaac Stern, Sandra Park, Diane Monroe, Joshua Bell, and Marco Kama. At the piano, Jonathan Feldman, performing their unique ensemble version of Bach's Concerto in D minor for two violins.